August 10th. A date so jam-packed with history, it's basically the Costco sample aisle of human events. You get a little ancient tragedy, a sprinkle of war, a dollop of art, and a free taste of corporate negligence. And much like the sample aisle, half of these events end with somebody getting hurt, something catching fire, and a guy in charge pretending it was part of the plan. Segment 1. Cleopatra's suicide, 30 BCE. Cleopatra, the last ruler of Egypt, checks out via snakebite or poison. Or maybe she just got tired of men named Octavian telling her what to do. She'd lost to Rome, lost her kingdom, and apparently decided the best way to go was with a little theatrical flair. Honestly, Cleopatra is history's original, "You can't fire me, I quit" queen. And the fact that the Roman PR machine got to write the final draft? Yeah, sure, Rome. I'm positive she died exactly how you said she did. No spin there. It's like trusting Fox News to write AOC's obituary. Segment 2. The Vasa warship sinks, 1628. Sweden launches its pride and joy warship, the Vasa, which promptly sails for a whopping 20 minutes before tipping over and sinking. Turns out when you stick 64 giant cannons on a ship without considering physics, the sea tends to have opinions. It's the naval equivalent of buying a Lamborghini and crashing it into the dealership's parking lot sign. And the best part? No one dared tell the king it was a bad idea. That's how you end up with Vasa syndrome, when everyone knows something's going to fail, but the boss insists it's genius. You know, like Truth Social. Segment 3, storming of the Tuileries Palace, 1792. Paris mob storms the royal palace, tosses out Louis XVI, and basically changes "take your monarch to work day" into "take your monarch to prison day." It's one of the big moments where France looked at the monarchy and said, "We're breaking up, and we're keeping the house." This is the problem with living in a palace during a revolution. The open door policy becomes a little too literal. And every time modern politicians say we could never have something like that happen today, I think, oh sweetie, have you seen January 6th? Segment 4, establishment of the Smithsonian Institution, 1846. James Smithson, a British guy who never set foot in the U.S., leaves his fortune to create the Smithsonian, which is wild because the Smithsonian has since become America's attic. Moon rocks, presidential hair, Fonzie's jacket. It's like your grandma's closet if your grandma also collected dinosaur bones and Apollo 11. And the fact that it started because some rich Brit decided to drop money on us for the increase and diffusion of knowledge. Well, nowadays, billionaires just buy social media companies and turn them into spam farms. Segment 5, electric guitar patent, 1937. George Beauchamp patents the electric guitar, giving birth to rock and roll, metal, and every dad who thinks playing Smoke on the Water in Guitar Center makes him a legend. The electric guitar changed music forever. Before that, your biggest stage move was standing. Now you could melt faces and eardrums. And sure, it's given us Hendrix, Clapton, and Prince, but it's also given us Nickelback. Progress is a mixed bag. Segment 6, Japan accepts Potsdam terms, 1945. Day after Nagasaki, Japan says, okay, fine, and agrees to surrender. World War II effectively ends and the nuclear age begins, which is history's way of saying, congratulations, you survived. Now here's a whole new way to die. The fact it took 2 atomic bombs and the Soviet Union joining in to convince them says a lot about stubborn leaders. It's like watching 2 people play chicken, except instead of cars, they're driving mushroom clouds. Segment 7, The Wizard of Oz premiere, 1939. Premiered in Green Bay, Wisconsin, because when you think cinematic magic, you think cheese country. And from that first showing, America fell in love with a girl from Kansas, a talking scarecrow, and the original furries, flying monkeys. The Wizard of Oz is so embedded in culture that politicians still use "we're not in Kansas anymore," usually right before they vote to defund tornado warnings. Segment 8, Civil Liberties Act, 1988. U.S. finally apologizes and pays reparations to Japanese Americans it threw into internment camps during World War II. Which is the political equivalent of saying sorry 40 years after you stole someone's car and then giving them gas money for the ride home. Still, it set a precedent, government admitting it was wrong. Imagine if that caught on. We'd have Congress doing nothing but apologizing on C-SPAN 24/7. Segment 9, First Person Married in Space, 2003. Russian cosmonaut marries his bride from the International Space Station while she's in Texas. It's sweet. And also the most Russian thing ever, a long-distance relationship with orbital mechanics involved. You think planning a wedding is stressful on Earth? Try timing your vows between satellite passes. And of course, NASA acted like a grumpy chaperone, making sure nothing got too romantic. Nobody wants to explain a honeymoon in microgravity. Segment 10, Midwest Derecho 2020. A straight-line windstorm with gusts up to 140 miles per hour wipes out billions in crops, damages half of Cedar Rapids' trees, and becomes the costliest thunderstorm in U.S. history. Because apparently hurricanes looked at the Midwest and thought, we're coming for you too. And in true Midwestern fashion, people were outside taking videos like, yup, looks windy. This is climate change in real time. We're basically turning every state into Florida, minus the alligators, but keeping the property damage. In closing, so that's August the 10th, as well as Sweet Cleopatra's dramatic exit, Sweden's Titanic before the Titanic, France doing its favorite pastime of overthrowing things, America building the Smithsonian because a British guy was feeling generous, rock and roll being born, World War II ending with a mushroom cloud mic drop, Oz teaching us about home, the U.S. saying sorry decades later, love in space, and the Midwest getting a hurricane audition. History doesn't just repeat itself. Sometimes it remixes, adds distortion, and plays it loud enough to knock your powdered wig clean off.